Welcome to today's show. I hope you're all doing well and you're settling in. Your day is wrapping up and you're settling in. And today we are talking about stretching, and it's Recovery Wednesdays. So, Wednesdays we'll talk about recovery. And yeah, it's Wednesday, right? Yes, correct. It is Wednesday. So, yeah, so we're talking about recovery. And this is going to be a show on Wednesdays where we talk about all things recovery, stretching, to sleep, to hydration, to different things and different methods to recover our bodies, regardless of where you are, what you do, what sort of activities you do. We want to make sure that we're able to cover and help each person to understand how to actually stretch. So, I stretched for 90 days. I'm sure, depending on when you first joined or subscribed or started watching some of the videos that I've been posting, but majority of the videos that I have on this channel are about stretching. And that is something that I personally got drawn to because during that time when I started stretching, I think this was after just COVID. So I realized that my body was starting to become a problem that I could not ignore. And what what changed was not what most people think, because stretching does not fail because it doesn't work, but it fails because people give up on stretching. That is the issue. So, in today's show, we want to look at, you know, what actually happens when you actually stretch consistently. And I'll share with you my personal story about what happened when I stretched consistently for over 90 days, actually. But I'm just going to focus on the first 90 days to actually show you what actually changed. So, most people quit before they see results, and they don't really understand, like, okay, how do I build a simple system that works without overthinking it? Because that is one of the most important things that we have to understand about stretching, is that you need to have a consistent system, a system that you can just follow, or just a system, plan, routine, something that you can follow consistently. So by the end of this video and today's stream, you should have a system, and the system will work for you regardless of where you are. If you've stretched before in your life, if you haven't stretched before in your life, the system will work. And it's just a matter of starting from where you are, because everyone is different. People have different bodies, people have different body structures, and people weigh differently, and people have different levels of flexibility, because I've seen people who are much heavier, even heavier than myself, who are more flexible than me. And so this is not just about, your weight, but it's about your bodily functions and recovery and making sure that the muscle tissue is healthy. So first off, I want to just maybe share with you my personal story, which probably I'd say right around COVID time. I was I was working out. I think I also showed you one of the pictures how I looked before. And during COVID and the pandemic, I was definitely a little bit chubby, I would say. Yeah, I would say like probably chubby, right? So this I've shared with you this image in another stream. But for example, what I wanted to show you here is this is how I looked, right? If you're just listening, I'm just showing one of the pictures that just highlight what I looked like before during COVID. Excuse me. Oh, yeah. So this was me again during COVID time, the COVID period. And I was slightly, I'd say I was definitely chubby and overweight. At this point, I was weighing about roughly, I'd say 200, 204. That was the heaviest that I got. So that was about 200. Right. So this image right here. So this was me about 100, 200 pounds. So what happened was I I was working in insurance, and I was sitting at a desk every single day. And because I was sitting at a desk every single day, my hips started getting tighter. My shoulders started getting tighter, and I could feel some pain in my shoulder blades, some discomfort. Not pain, not like excruciating pain, but it was just discomfort from either leaning on one side, right? If you have like an armchair, you lean too much on one side and you're in that position a lot of times, and you tend to gravitate and put yourself in positions that you feel maybe most comfortable. You just leaning on one side. So eventually your body adapts to those positions that you put yourself in. Whether you're sitting, whether you're moving, regardless of what you're doing, your body has to adapt. So personally, waking up, I would still wake up stiff every day, and I would rush. I'll just take a shower, sit in the car, go to work. When I get to work, get my coffee, get a quick breakfast. I sit down. I'm sitting down, and I'm taking meetings, and I'm sitting all the day, all the time, every single day. So this made my workouts probably not as great as they used to be before the pandemic, so to speak, because at that time, like I was still in a routine where I'd still go to the gym after work and work out. So the routine, the system was there. But with the pandemic, everything was disrupted. And because everything was disrupted during that time, I found myself just not going to the gym when I needed to, because my routine was good. Like I would go to the gym and I would train, and after I train, I'll get back home and yeah, I'll probably stretch here and there. I'm not saying that I was the best at stretching, but I had a routine and my muscles, I knew where my body was. But that break, that long break, really changed a lot about how I trained and how I related to my body. Because during that time, that's when I actually started putting on a bit of weight, not too much, but I was putting on a decent amount of weight. And I definitely could have improved a lot of different things from what I was doing. So my energy was starting to feel off as well at that time. So one of the things that I then realized was that, okay, I probably don't need to work harder, because actually I got the injury. Actually, the injury was my wake up call. I knew what was going on. My injury was a wake up call when I pulled my pec. That was the wake up call that made me realize that my body was not the same. After an extended period of being stagnant, not moving, just sitting, I realized that, okay, my body's not the same. My ligaments are not the same. So I had to make a decision. And the decision that I made was to start stretching. And what made me actually start stretching was, I think, I watched one video. This was the video that got me to stretching. And this was Bully Juice. If you've watched Bully Juice, he actually gave me the first inspiration like for stretching. So I'm gonna show you just to see, so that you see this. because this was the first video that got me into stretching. And I have to definitely credit Bully Juice for sure, because otherwise, like I probably would have, I mean, probably like I would have found a few more people, right? So I had Bully Juice. So this was, okay, so let's go back, transition. Okay, go back. So this was the OG video that got me to stretching. Like this pose, that was like my my thing that I got into. So this is Bully Juice, and
What's going on YouTube? It's Blue Juice here, aka your favorite virtual trainer. And in this video, I will be taking you
so
guys through a 10-minute stretch
this
routine
was,
that is designed to keep you loose and feeling good. We want to prevent injuries, and
yeah, so this was
stretching is
Bully Juice.
extremely important in order to do that.
10,
So this was Bully Juice. This is the first video that I saw with Bully Juice. I was like, oh wow, okay, cool, great. This is what I need. And I got into stretching, and this was like Bully Juice. Like he's got like different workouts. Like great guy to like watch and watch his stuff, right? So like some of these
2,
stretches,
1.
right? So like, so if you've watched and followed some of my videos, like I've taken some of my routines from Booty Juice as well, and definitely I would say like he's like a good trainer, especially if you're doing like at home stuff. If you're doing at home stuff, like I should actually subscribe, yeah, with this channel. So is actually a good trainer. So I started following.
3, 2, 1.
All right, so this was Bully Juice, and yeah, so like I was following some of his yeah, so I was following some of his routines, and then I had another person that I followed her routines. She's a girl, but I was like, yo, she made me realize MadFit. I'm sure you probably, if you're training and stretching, like I'm sure you've probably come across a channel as well. She's probably one of the biggest channels when it comes to stretching, and I followed some of her routines as well. She's amazing, and yeah, so she's got a channel, and so she definitely inspired me in terms of like some of my stretch videos, and just how I also did my stretches and just recorded the journey as I was also like following some of the routines and some of these. Yeah, so she's got different routines. So she also started like during the pandemic. I think that's when she started her channel.
Hey guys,
And
thank you so much for joining me today. Today I wanted to bring you
so that's MadFit. So
bring it through. We're going to do a pigeon pose. You can bring your arms up, nice deep breath in.
right. So most of these routines I also got inspired by some of these creators as well, because I actually realized like, okay, like, I need to stretch. And one of the things that motivated me going through that process was actually recording and shooting content as well, because it also made me just hold myself accountable to what I was doing as I was recording and documenting the journey and the process. Because I had a real problem, because I felt like my body was just becoming a problem and I had to take care of my body. So what I resorted to do was also stretch and start stretching. So I'll show you where I started from. So this was let's go oldest. Okay, let's go oldest videos. So these were workouts that I started. Okay, so this was me, first starting out doing some stretching. Hey everyone, it's Coach Nate here. So today I'm going to show you 4 quick and easy stretches that you can do at home in the morning to get your day started. So first you want to find some free space. If you have a yoga mat, that's ideal. And okay, wait, let's see. So it's cutting out. Let me just adjust this because this is not what it's supposed to do. Okay. There we go. Be able to have enough space to stretch out your arms. So you want to start with your arms stretched out. And so the idea with this stretch, you want to just go with small circles, right? Yeah, so this was me. I was starting out, like I was also doing it, and I'm also doing your leg from side to side, crossing the leg that's standing in front of you. So yeah, so like this was like the first video, stretching video back, just to make sure that I took, you're getting all the motion and strengthening your spine as well. So what you want to do is kneel down, right? And you want to, so yeah, so like right here, this was exactly what I was doing. Like I was starting out like cat cow, and then from there, when I actually got into, so these were like just like home workouts, like more workout type videos. And then this was like the bully juice. Oh, I had this opening. I actually forgot. I need to find this opening. So this was my one of my OG videos as well for like stretching. Ooh, look at that text. It's quite big. You can't even see me. I was covering myself with that text. While being a creator is what a journey it is, eh? You learn so much. Okay, so yeah, so like over here, this is you can tell as you can tell, like this is my physique right there, right? How I looked. Because at this point I couldn't actually, because you can see the weight, you can see my thighs, right? My lower body right there, kind of thick. And as I was sitting, like I couldn't really fully fold forward. And so this was one of the things that I realized, like, okay, I was putting on some weight and my flexibility. I've also seen like there's certain movements and positions that are harder for me to perform because I had a bit more weight in certain body areas or body parts, right? So what you want to do is, when it comes to training, what people tend to think is that they, even though they can't fully stretch, that they have to force it and force a stretch, which is not the case. So, I stretched. This was probably, yeah, this was probably like a year ago, right? So, like, I had, some videos, probably these are plenty. So, I'm just going to go back to the latest videos. And then, if I can go back to the catalog here, I'll see the other stretching videos that I did most recently. And actually, you know what? Let me do this. I know how to find them. Because this is the issue, right? Like when someone's coming and looking for certain videos, like it's harder to find when you have so many videos on a playlist, right? On your channel. You have to find every single video. So I have now, let's see, catalog has over 700 videos. So like all my videos now around 700 videos.
Welcome, Pam. Woke up feeling stiff, heavy, or
So
just mentally foggy? You're
right
not.
now, yeah, so right here is now the most recent physique that I had when I stretched for 90 days. So this was me now at this point. And that was me after I dropped the weight. So between these two pictures, the difference in weight is about 60 pounds. And the 60 pounds came from stretching and walking. So I wasn't really going to the gym or training or going to the gym as much, but I was actually just stretching, walking, and just dialing in on my diet. And so this led me to realize that a couple false beliefs that I had in terms of the things that I thought about stretching was really about what it took for me to become flexible. Because the thing that I realized the most was that stretching on its own is, I guess, what I can say, like it's not about stretching, feeling like the stretch right in the moment, right? Because I'm trying to understand one of the things that, I used to think, I'm trying to think about, okay, what are the things that I previously believed about stretching, which just totally shifted why I push people to stretch so much now. Is one of the things is that when you first start stretching, it feels like nothing is happening, right? Like in the first video, like I showed you, like even this
Setting,
was one of, oh,
working.
this was other one of the other videos, right? So the first thing is like, okay, you see these movements, they seem like they're simple. I mean, some people say like, okay, they're a little bit difficult, but what you find is that these movements right now that I'm showing you here, okay, maybe this one might be a little bit harder for someone a bit older, but things like this, like doing a forward fold, people might think that, oh, this is a bit hard. And it's it's not it's not that it's not working or it's hard, you shouldn't be able to do it, because stretching isn't about working in the moment and instantly, right? So some people say, okay, stretching doesn't work, or it's, maybe too hard, I can't get into this position. But it's not about having the stretches work immediately in that moment when you're stretching. It's really about repeating the movements, and it becomes cumulative over time, because when you repeat something, there's a principle when it comes to like your body and training, which is a principle of adaptability. Because the moment you start stretching, your body doesn't just immediately allow you to stretch for like, like do splits. Your body doesn't just automatically just do splits just because you stretched, or it doesn't mean that that pain that you feel automatically disappears right away. But it means that your body needs to adapt, and also adapt to that position that you're introducing to it. So the results happen over time. And some of the things that people don't realize, that the results are happening in small increments, because in that moment you're actually rewiring your brain. You're rewiring your nervous system, how your brain, how your muscles, how your nerves relate to that position. Because a lot of times, if you've seen, like if you're starting out or you're trying to get into a stretch position for the first time, it might feel a bit difficult, and your brain might tighten up certain muscles, because it's like, okay, I can't let go, because it's like, okay, we'll just rip something if we keep stretching. And it's not about forcing that stretch, but it's about doing it over and over and over. Because the idea that stretching doesn't work is false, because those results come over time. Because after some time, you relieve so much pain, you become more flexible, your recovery is faster. So you want to make sure that you are being consistent and actually pushing through. And then the other thing that people tend to believe is that you need to stretch for a long period of time, because sometimes people will stretch for like, will think that they need to stretch for like an entire hour, or they need to spend 30 minutes just stretching, or 45 minutes, or however long that they think that, a workout should take. But the beauty about stretching is that it's not about intensity, it's not about duration, but it's about consistency. Even if you do 5-10 minutes of stretching, because personally, like, if you see most of the videos that I have, they're about stretching for 5 minutes. A 5 minute stretch is very quick. If you're busy, 5 minutes, you can do that in the morning, and you just repeat that. And you need to tie it back to a system where you're not overthinking it, and you're not thinking, oh, okay, so what should I do today? Right? So you want to make sure that you're being consistent, because with the stretches, you also want to have a routine that is repeatable. You don't want it to be like some complex routine. You don't want it to be too hard for you to like think, oh, okay, I got to do this stretch. I got to warm up some muscles first, because you're not trying to do gymnastics. That's the thing about this. You don't want to do gymnastics. You want to actually stretch, and you want to have a routine that is repeatable. And so that's building it into a system, into a plan, something that you can do 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You don't have to do like exaggerated positions, like some yoga people do exaggerated positions where they're trying to, do complicated things. You do not need that. It's just about making sure that the routines are simple and repeatable. And that is the essence for stretching. That is what you need. So you just need to tie it into a system where you're consistent and you're not doing random stretches that are complex, and your effort is not like, sporadic in different places. So that is definitely one of the other things. And the third thing that you want to realize about stretching is that sometimes I think it's not just stretching, but it's about working out, anything physical, or forming a new habit. Let me put it that way. It's about forming a new habit. And in this case, we're talking about stretching. So, one of the things that people think is that they need motivation to push them through every single day, to think about, okay, I need to feel motivated today for me to do this stretch. And the reality and the truth about the matter is that you do not need to have motivation, because motivation is fleeting. You might feel motivated one day, and the next day you're not motivated. So, what you actually need to do is to actually create a rhythm and a system, a pattern that you can repeat every single day. So, the idea behind it is that you do not actually have to try new stretches every single day. You just need a system that works. Stretches that you can repeat over and over and over again. Even if you pick one position, because remember again, like what I said, like people think that stretching doesn't work, because sometimes people try to do different random things and different stretch routines. But what actually matters, what actually matters is that you repeat the same movements, the same patterns. Because when you repeat those same patterns and the same movements, that's how you improve. That's how you see your results over time. And that pain that you're feeling, it starts to fade away. That discomfort starts to go away. And your energy starts to go up. You feel more energetic. Your recovery is faster. So that is what you want to do. That's how you start seeing results. When you start stretching consistently and repeating the same patterns, the same movements, because that's how you actually improve. So the question always then becomes, so what movements should I do? What patterns should I do? So I'll tell you, one of the things that I also experienced was that when I started stretching, as I was stretching, I started feeling the areas where I had past injuries, where I thought that I had healed. And I was like, okay, like this is an injury from like when I was 12, or this is an injury when I was like 16 or 17, 18. And those were like small, minor injuries where my body recovered. But what we have to realize that when our bodies recover from injuries, sometimes the body has to form tissue that reinforces that area that was injured. And sometimes that tissue is a bit tighter, it can get very tight. It's like the fascia that's building up, or your muscles, whatever happened to you. But sometimes you realize that that injury, even though it's not paining you anymore, it might restrict your movement and your range of motion. So that is something that might stick with you for time. Because when people recover from an injury, they think, okay, the pain is just what matters now. But what actually happens is that that injury, when it recovers, sometimes your body now tightens up and the range of motion, you lose a bit of range of motion because you had that injury. So the important thing, and what people tend to miss, is that when you get injured, you're supposed to stretch as you heal to maintain that range of motion that you used to have. That's why things like physiotherapy are important when you're treating an injury. So even if you're young, even if you're young, you still know like, okay, I can recover from certain injuries and heal fully and properly. And even if you're older, it's a matter of realizing that regardless of what it is, you personally, you personally make sure that you keep on stretching. Because when you keep on stretching throughout, you will heal and you will still maintain a good amount of range of motion, if not better as well. Because sometimes before you get injury, before you get any injury or you get injured, you might not have been stretching. And after getting injured, you start stretching more than what you used to, and now you have more range of motion. So that is one of the key things to just remember, is that you need to stretch regardless. Whether you before you get injured is even better. That's the best time. When you get injured, you're recovering, you need to continuously stretch. That is so important. So you don't want to miss that. You want to keep and maintain the stretching. Right. So that's one of the things that you need to do, because that motivation that you think that you need is not necessary, but you just need a system. You need a pattern so that you consistently do it, because over time, that's when you'll see the results. And so now, what if you stretch? I want to show you something. So now I want to see, I was just looking at the frames here to see, okay, is our connection good? Because sometimes recording live, you can run into some issues. So as I was saying, as I was talking to you here, I also wanted to show you, because on the channel, like if you're new to the channel or if you've been watching the channel before, you might wonder like, okay, Nate, I'm trying to start stretching. What stretches can I do? Like I've just come to your channel and you have 1,400 videos on stretching. So what stretch can I pick? What stretch can I do? Like it sounds it sounds like, okay, this is great and I want to start stretching. I want to start getting active. So one of the things that I've managed to do over the past couple of weeks and months is to actually start organizing my channel so that you have stretch routines that you can follow. If you want to do a different stretch routine every single day for like a month, there's different programs that you can do and you can follow. But this allows you to explore the different stretch routines, right? This allows you to explore the different stretch routines. You don't have to do all of them, but you just find one, at least one stretch routine. And when you find that one stretch routine, you repeat that stretch routine. You do it over and over. That's how you start to see results. So to begin, you can come to the channel and you can follow along because when I started, because my journey, I'm not showing you these people that are already fit. Like I showed you Bully Juice, Mad Fit. They're already fit when they were making some of these videos, right? They were in pretty good shape. I started off from a position where I wasn't that flexible. I had a bit of extra weight, but I consistently stretched and I saw results. I even lost weight. I lost over 60 pounds because I combined my stretching with the training. I mean, the stretching with the walking, with the diet. I trained maybe once, 3 times a month, like maybe once a week or so, but I saw significant results by stretching and walking. Those are the two main physical activities that I did: stretching, walking, and the diet was also dialed in. So, those are the three things that you can do. And I can promise you, you'll see very, very significant results. So on the channel, you can see there are different tabs here at the top. So there's courses and there is a playlist. I would definitely say if you're to come to the courses, so I think the courses probably make the most sense for a lot of people, is I've set up the courses by month so that each month you have different videos that you can follow. So this is September, October, right? November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. So you can come and see right in here to see like, okay, which stretch routines can I follow? So like, let's say for example, right now in March, we're entering into May, you can come into the May stretch routines. You can see, okay, these are the May stretch routines, right? So we've got about 78 videos in this playlist. So you can figure out like, okay, how much time do I have to stretch? Okay, we've got 5 minutes. So all the stretch routines are labeled as well. So you can pick, okay, which one do you want? Is it for like full body? Are you trying to work on your hips? So when you start stretching, you will feel where your body needs it the most, the areas that feel the tightest. And sometimes when you feel tight in certain areas, it's an indication. It's not about stretching through that tightness and forcing that muscle to release, but it's about recognizing, because the first thing that you want to do is diagnose exactly where your body needs it the most. So you can sit down, start stretching, on a mat, or you can be standing. Figure out like, where does my body need it the most? And this is how you'll find the routine for you to repeat every day until you improve and you start seeing results. And you'll start to see that your body will adapt pretty fast, right? Again, we talked about the principle of adaptability, meaning that your body will adapt and it will adjust itself over time. It doesn't happen in the moment, but it happens as you repeat it because you're rewiring your brain. How your brains, how your brain and your nerves work together along with your muscles. So you don't want to force it, but just breathe through it, because sometimes when you're stretching, you'll feel those pops, pop, pop, those knots releasing. That is what people want all the time. But sometimes you can also injure yourself, because if you overdo it and you try over extend and overstretch, you can actually rip your ligaments and tendons. So that is what you want to avoid. But what you can do is just come, pick a stretch routine, right? You can try all of them for 30 days straight. There's also like the May routine that you can try. All right, so this is May, and you can also come, you can try this one here. We've got the 30-day morning reset. You can try that one. And there's this May reset challenge. So this is a routine with 30 days.
Made it to day one, and that already feels.
So this one's actually structured, where you have every single day structured. You can do this day 1, day 2, day 3, up to day 31. So you can get started for your routine for May. And as you can see right here, so you've got all the days, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, right? And you can go all the way to day 31. So this is the May Reset Challenge. So you can start this routine, you can start this challenge, and this will help you figure out like, okay, where is it that I need where is it that I need this stretch the most? So as you do this, you have a system, you have a program that is structured. And out of all the stretches, right, after the 30 days, you can pick one video, one stretch routine that you'll repeat over and over again because you need to have a routine and a pattern that you can consistently perform and do to see the results. It doesn't happen instantly, but it takes time. It might take a couple weeks, it might take 1 month, it might take 2 months, it might take 3 months for you to start seeing the results. And the amazing thing about this is that once you do this, you'll start to see different results where physically you have less stiffness and you have better mobility, improved posture, and your performance wise, you're going to have better workouts and more control of the weights in the gym. Your range of motion improves and increases, and your recovery, you've got a faster bounce back when you're trying to recover from a workout, and you have less soreness when you're training and you're working out because your muscles are no longer just building up lactic acid and just piling it in your muscles, but you're also releasing and breaking down all that lactic acid that would normally build, and your body understands how to just function properly without any of that extra extra stress. So this is the real results. This is the real result that you'll actually get, which you should expect when you stretch every day consistently for 90 days. And what you just need to be for you personally, your identity, you don't want to be like thinking about yourself as someone who's like just stretching all the time, but you want to be someone who's stretching and being someone who's taking care of their body before it becomes a problem. And you want to be the person who shows up every day because you're showing up for yourself. All right. You're showing up for yourself. And if you are someone who's like, okay, Nate, I enjoy this, but I feel like my mind is sort of scattered. I don't have any sort of like mental stillness for me to actually do this, because some people will be like, okay, this is too static. Like, I don't know, where do I put my mind when I'm in this position? I'm holding this position. Because for some people, it's very odd, right? For their mind to just be still and actually do this, because some people are like, no, I want to run, I want to do something else, which is good. But even if you're a runner, you want to do activities, you still need to stretch because that reduces the chances of injury. So this is crucial because before you run, you want to stretch. After you run, you want to stretch. When you wake up, you want to stretch. When you're sitting for too long, you want to stretch. So anytime you want to make sure that you're the person who shows up, who does the work, who stretches, who protects the body, and you don't make it a burden. You don't make your body a burden to you, but you make it a weapon that allows you to perform at the highest level. Right? So when you do this, you can do this, do the 30-day stretches for May. That's the 31-day May Reset Challenge. So you can go find this playlist. It's on the channel, so you can go find it. So it's a 31 day May Reset Challenge. So you can do this 31 days, find the challenge, find the stretches that you would actually like to do over time and repeat them. Right. So this is a challenge for 31 days, but you can also start creating a personal playlist. When you find the stretches that you enjoy, start building a personal playlist. And you can use that playlist to allow you to continuously improve and improve your mobility, improve your recovery, improve your control when you're working out or when you're running, your stride, improve that all. So that is what really helps you. Right. So You already know that stretching is good for you, I'm sure. So what so the question is always like, okay, even though you know, because I know like this is not new information, the question is, why haven't you been doing this already? That is the question. Why haven't you been doing this already? So, and most people will be just the lack of structure, right? So I went through that. I went through that. And I found people that helped me and they had a routine, they had a structure, and I just followed. And that also helped me see results. And the other thing is just consistency. Like figure out like, okay, how can you make it enjoyable for yourself so that you can be consistent, so that you can be consistent and keep on going. And one of the things, again, like because I also coach people, is everyone requires a coach and everyone needs guidance. Everyone does, because we're not able to do everything. And one of the things that I've also done is create the 30-day reset, which also includes the spiritual component, like the biblical, the scripture. And this allows you to have like a morning routine. Like if you're going to do this, you're going to do this right. You're going to do this right and cover all your bases, right? So you want to do your scripture, your reading, read your Bible in the morning. So that's a 30-day reset and the 3-day reset. If you want to sample it, you can read your scripture, you can journal, and you can stretch. And once you do that, that's like 5 minutes. Each thing can take you like 5 minutes, right? And include your prayer. Each thing can take you about 5 minutes. And in total, you need to just set aside 30 minutes for everything. And your routine, you stacked your routine, your habits, your routine is done, 30 minutes. That's all you need just to get ready for the day. And then you proceed. So sometimes we tend to not want to take care of all these things because maybe we're rushing and we just stuck, right? Because at the end of the day, you're not stuck because you lack knowledge. You're just stuck because you lack the simple system, right? Because that is the reality. That is what really matters the most is having a simple system. So right now, this is what I'm giving you. So if you have, if you've taken some notes right here, so like the first thing is, you want to stretch for 5 minutes daily. You want to use the same patterns, right? And you want to make sure that it's part of your morning routine. And maybe even to like dial it back a little bit. Like commit for 3 days. If you do it for 3 days, do it for 7 days, right? Maybe you might say 30 days is a long time. Do the first 3 days, see how you feel. Then do the 7 days, see how you feel. Then 14 days, then 30 days, see how you feel. So that is a challenge that I'm throwing out to you, right? So you don't need more intensity, you just need more consistency, and everything is now laid out for you. Everything is now laid out for you. So I encourage you to start today, just 5 minutes. You don't have to include everything else yet, but you can just start with the 3 days and just for 5 minutes, just stretch. Just stretch for 5 minutes because that's really all you need at the end of the day. You don't need to take too much time out of your day, but you just need to follow a system and a plan that works. Because I've seen the results, I've seen what this can do for anyone. Because at the end of the day, like this is something that I think anyone can achieve. It's not that, I'm any more special than anyone, but it's just being real about it, right? Like it's just being real about, what you can do because sometimes we think that we need like rocket science for us to lose weight and achieve incredible results, but this doesn't require rocket science. And I've also come across a couple of people who are a bit older and they say that they cannot do these stretches because for someone else they might say, okay, these stretches are very simple, easy to do, but for someone else they might think that these stretches are a bit hard to do. right? They might think that, okay, this is a bit more complicated and more complex for them to actually do. But the thing is, you don't have to fully get into these positions, right? Or these stretches. All you need to do is just try and do as much as you can. And over time, right? So like, let's say, for example,
If
let's
you
see here.
felt out of rhythm lately, this is where we begin again. Because before your body builds strength, it needs stillness. Let's hit the mat. This pose is more than a stretch. Walk your
Right.
hands forward and
So as you can tell, like this particular video here, like as I was stretching here, like before in the other video, like the first video that I showed you, like I had a bit of I had bit more weight in my thighs, right? So right here, like I lost 60 pounds and my flexibility was much better, had improved. Like I'm not going all the way to the bottom because my hip structure is different, right? A lot of women in this position, they can go all the way to the bottom because of the hip structure. So it's going to be different for everyone how flexible they are. For most guys, I've seen some guys who can go all the way and they've probably tried for a long time and stretched and just repeated the same position. And over time you definitely improve. And you get to a point where you can actually do this like effortlessly because you've just repeated the same patterns over and over again. So you need to just pick a routine and just repeat it. And it doesn't mean that you have to like go all the way down. You just start from where you are and just go gentle. Don't force it. Don't feel like you have to do something crazy, extreme, and perform it like, to the 100% of your I guess you do it to the 100, what you call 100%, but don't try and imitate someone else to be doing it exactly as they are doing it if they've been doing it for several years. Because if it's your first time, you don't have to rush it. You don't have to overextend yourself. It's kind of like when someone walks like 50,000 steps, you don't need to go walk 50,000 steps right away. Like walk 5,000, start with 5,000, and then go 10,000, and then go 15,000, 20,000. But over time, your body adapts where your feet don't hurt as much, where you don't feel as hungry as you would if you're doing it for the first time. You have more energy, you can do more. Your body, your movements, your movement patterns improve, your stride improves. So all of these things add up over time. It's not about doing it like immediately and then thinking that, okay, I have to get the best result right now, right away. So again, this is what I want to leave you with is just to go back and, really think about like, okay, where you are right now. So if you haven't been stretching and you haven't been taking care of your mornings the way that you should in terms of your body, I recommend you go and you start stretching. And if you're recovering from an injury, I recommend and highly recommend that as you do your physio, you stretch, you do the movements that help you adjust so that those past injuries from the past, they don't haunt you for the rest of your life. So this is the system that I have. Everything is built for you. So you can go to the channel. When you go to the channel, you will find the stretch routines laid out. So you can go to the courses tab, right? This is on the YouTube channel. You can go to the courses tab and you can go and pick the month that we're in and you can pick your stretch routine. And the May Reset Challenge is right here at the bottom, right here. So you can take that playlist. It's structured as a course. So everything is structured as courses. So every month you can come try different ones. If you feel like, okay, I'm ready for whether it's a longer routine, you can find stretch routines that are longer, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, some are close to 30 minutes. Maybe have a few that are about an hour. So if you really want to challenge yourself, you can also come in and challenge yourself. So all the systems are now built for you. So all you have to do is just go pick a playlist or pick a course and just do that. That's what you need to do. And over time, you will see results. And like I said, the results are cumulative. They don't happen all at once, but they happen over time. And you need to give your body the space, the margin that it needs. So, again, thanks for hanging out with me today. And I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna go work out. And yeah, today is Wednesday, so I will be doing. I'm gonna do legs. Actually, yeah. So usually I try split my day so that I don't meet the people that are doing the same workouts as me. Today is Wednesday, so it's gonna be a bit busy, but I might do cardio. I'll see how busy the gym is, but I might just pivot to do cardio first, and then yeah, and then I'll do weights another day. But I'll have to see what's going on in the gym. But as always, thanks for joining me, and I appreciate you tuning in. And if you are not subscribed to the channel, and if you enjoy more of this style of content, or if you have different topics or things that you want us to talk about, let me know as well so that I can create different topics about things that you want to hear and just want me to talk about. I know some people have talked about just me talking more about like financial wellness. There's one part to that. Like I've got a couple channels, and I'm also creating different channels because right now YouTube is behaving very different and weird, it seems. Or apparently there's like a lot of AI that they're using to like recommend content and either like promote different videos and different things. So the AI algorithm is something that no one's really looking at at YouTube. At least that's what I'm hearing. So if you're not seeing some of my videos, if you've been unsubscribed to some of the content or some videos, make sure to subscribe. Make sure that your notifications are turned on so that YouTube knows that you enjoy this video, and also like the video, leave a comment as well, and do everything just to show YouTube that you enjoy these videos so that they don't unsubscribe you see more of this content. And I already know like more people watch the channel and they're not subscribed. So more, make sure that you're watching and you're subscribing and liking, sharing. All of those things help the channel grow, and that also allows us to do more things and create different content. Because right now I just work, it's just me, no editor, but I would like to get to a point where there's an editor for the channel that also helps with editing the videos, because I think, the delivery can also improve with an editor that helps as well. So that is one of the wishes that I have. And right now, for the channel and what I'm doing right now, I'm not there yet. I have to do all the work on my own for now. So, but I believe and I trust in you guys that you will support, and we will get there. We will get there. It's just a matter of time. So make sure to like, share, subscribe, and we can do a lot of amazing things, and I can, create more content. Because I tell you, there's so much more content that I want to create, but I just understand that it requires more work to produce that content, that level of content. And to do that, like I said, it needs a team. And right now it's just me. So it'll be very meaningful and helpful if you can subscribe to the channel, like it, share it with your friends, share it with your family, anyone that you think will benefit. Right? Don't just randomly share it. I don't want you to just share it because I'm just asking, but people that you believe will find value. I want them to also be part of this community, and we can reach as many people as possible together, and you can be part of the community, and we can do more things. And yeah, so I appreciate you for supporting me. I might not say it as much, but I really do. I really appreciate you all for supporting me since the journey. If you've joined me since, I don't know, like 2017 or 20, I don't know, when I first started getting into content, like I can't remember how long back that was. I think 2012 actually, when Instagram first came out. I was on Instagram quite a bit, but that's a different story for another day. But I truly appreciate your support till this far. So I appreciate you. I'll keep on saying it. But yeah, thank you for joining me. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Cheers.